we have a very special anime to discuss. Some anime that I really like. An anime I got you two to watch, and I'm really happy I got you two to watch. An anime about heroes that never give up.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Samurai Flamenco.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam Flam!
Sam Flam's very interesting.
Again, so let's start again. This is our part one. This is a no spoiler territory. You were fine.
You guys are going to need to take over for this part, because I still haven't watched the first 2 episodes.
No, I'm not even going to summarize.
Because...
So, Samurai Flamenco was an anime that aired a couple years ago. Don't know the exact date. Made by, again, RIP Manga Globe.
Yeah, Manga Globe's dead, guys.
And it's about a hero's journey, per se, if you have to say. A journey through heroes.
It's Kick-Ass the anime, and then it's not Kick-Ass the anime.
Yeah. So...
It's how to divide it into 2 sections.
Yeah, I agree. But this is a very special anime. What do you guys think? What do you guys have to say?
I think this is going to be really hard to explain without spoiling anything.
I know, but try to tiptoe the line.
So this is a show that if you're trying to take everything absolutely seriously, you're going to hate it at points. Many people dropped it because they thought it was going serious, and then it hit what the fuck really fast.
And then that's when it got better.
A lot of people dropped it. If you keep going, it kind of changes genres quite a bit.
And not only that, but in my opinion, it's one of the few shows that I have to say you have to watch all the way through to get it. Like,
yeah, if you're gonna choose to watch it, you have to commit right from the beginning to watching it all the way to the end, or else you're kind of gonna miss out on the whole point of the show.
Yeah. And that's the issue where animes like Punchline and Samurai Flamenco are animes that are infamous, where people just, started it, decided to drop it, and then just, the rest of the people who kept going were like, guys, this is amazing. Like, you guys totally missed out.
So.
Because the best way to explain it is...
It gets really stupid. But you have to embrace the stupidity.
Yeah.
It'll sort of explain itself towards the end, and it's not any amazing mindfuck explanation. It's an explanation, so they give one. But it also sort of centers itself after that. It brings itself back to sort of its starting point. It's sort of, if you cut out the episode, I would say 7 to the last 3 episodes.
And to 7 to, last 3, yeah, I guess.
You would hardly miss anything, honestly.
Honestly, I feel like you would.
No, I mean, in the whole Kick-Ass storyline.
Oh, yeah.
Everything else, you could take all that stuff out, and it could be, a completely separate, even spin-off series, and then you can sort of just have the continuation that way through. The only issue is they introduce a few characters for a
But then there's a lot of different plot points that kind of have to contribute.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend this, but I'm just saying, that's how similar the last 3 episodes are.
Yeah, exactly.
To the beginning. They kind of link it all together.
Where this show goes from, it's kind of like a yo-yo in a way, where there's parts where it's there's sections where it's going to be very serious and kind of drama heavy, then it goes down and just becomes really serious, over the top, and just really tremendously ridiculous. And then it goes back up to the serious moments, goes back down to the silly moments, and just keeps doing this kind of a yo-yo motion until it hits the end where it's just the guy holding the yo-yo.
If you can't take it seriously, my suggestion is don't. Just go with it and see what happens, and in the end, it'll probably be worth it. I thought it was worth it.
Yeah.
Going through the parts that I had to slog through at certain times or another.
But then when you get to the end, it kind of starts pulling things together, and you kind of go, yeah, you need that other parts to kind of
It has a
build
point,
in.
and it will get to that point, and
it just takes
if you understand that point, it's okay, this did something pretty cool throughout its whole story arc here.
I think this is an original series, if I'm right. I don't think it was a light novel. I don't think it was a manga.
We here do all our research before the show.
We are the epitome of research, but and I think it is an original story, and I think because of that, it's pretty good. I mean, if you see that there's a manga, there is a manga, but I'm almost certain the manga came out after.
Yep, Samurai Flamenco is a TV original series.
Awesome. Yeah. So for a TV original series, I thought that was, with no source material, what a good way to tell a story.
It definitely feels like it too. Like thinking back, it's definitely original. It's not something that I could see working in any other form of genre, partially based on what it does.
Yeah, because you get to like a specific moment, and then a genre changes, then a genre changes, and then a genre changes. The best way to explain this show, again, is you watch the show for a couple episodes, and then it just changed genres. The minute you go to another arc, the genre just changes, and it constantly is doing that as you're watching it. And it's an anime that kind of subverts your expectations, where you kind of expect one thing, and then something totally out of left field just happens.
I think it's more about like setting you up to like you're continuously expecting something because it's like it sets you in this mindset, right? It goes, okay, we're gonna do this pattern a few times. Now you're sort of into it, kick you into a like brand new train track, basically.
Exactly. That's the best way,
for lack of a better analogy. And honestly, the thing that holds all this together for me the best would definitely be the lead characters. They're just extremely likable people, and they're not like I wouldn't call them normal. One plays straight man, and the other plays like
the abnormal person.
Yeah, they play like if you were one of those like shonen heroes who's always doing the right thing in real life, how you would actually get treated. It's sort of why people call it like Kick-Ass the anime. It's very much how Kick-Ass was sort of if a superhero was put into like a real world. Everyone would think you're an idiot. Why are you doing this kind of
That's
stuff?
how people look at him as.
And like to some point, he actually gets obnoxious with his stuff. So it's sort of a flaw in him too. Like even littering or like putting your garbage out the night before is seen as a crime to him.
Yeah,
and he doesn't like do terrible things because of it, right? He tries to be like sensible about everything he does, but he really does think that's like, oh, that's so inconvenient to others. You should really not do that. And he's kind of seen as naggy, honestly. But because of that flaw, he's not like a perfect character, and I really enjoyed that about him. Also, the fact he's a little bit socially
inept.
Yeah.
He definitely is a socially inept.
Would you put this
character.
guy up there next to like unique MCs? Like he's not really a generic MC in a way.
He's a great character. He leads the story in his own way, and honestly, like. I think he shines best when he's out of like the situations that he's used to. Because there's a lot of
specifically everything past like episode 7.
No, honestly, in those things too, he seems like he's in. Like,
he's in his forte.
He's in his zone.
Yeah.
He's the hero of the story, and he's doing all the heroic things. Doesn't matter how big the sacrifice is, but when it becomes something he doesn't understand, that's when he actually starts to struggle. I feel. So, I don't know.
Yeah, he's definitely interesting, and the story and the point behind the story definitely wouldn't have worked if you had a different character leading the show.
Even though like it's not really shown, but in my opinion, this is kind of a thematic. Like, there's a lot of themes and messages behind a lot of the actions and events. I know you're giving me that look, but like, when I was watching it, I felt a lot of like messages coming out of like a lot of the things that are happening.
Yeah, you might as well.
I felt there was one broad overarching point that tied the whole thing together for me in a nice, neat package. Like, watching it, it felt like someone had just trailed this string as they randomly walked through some city somewhere. And finally, when it got to the finale, it wrapped itself up in a nice present that I understood and enjoyed. And I thought it was good, but I don't think it has a ton going on underneath.
I mean, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that soon.
Yeah,
but
it's not really something that's going to be like build up, and then like a lost kind of ending. Here's the big surprise. Holy crap! It's more like you get to 3 episodes right before they go back to normal. They explain everything, and that's why everything goes back to normal. And then the last 3 episodes they play on that theme. Yeah, that's the first time I feel like they truly get that like the play on the theme right. It's like, okay, you had all your fun here. Now let's get serious. Now we're gonna flip all of the stuff that you've been doing on its head, and it's still gonna be linked to what was going on before, and that's hard to sort of explain without spoiling what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, again, I always tell people this. It's like it goes to Gurren level of just epicness, and then it gets grounded. And then when you get back to that grounded, that's when everything comes full circle, and you go, I get it. But besides that, who would you recommend this to? Would you recommend this?
Anyone with the patience.
I would recommend Samurai Flamenco to anyone with the patience to stick it through all the way. Because if you're the type of person that's going to drop a show because you start to not like things about it, you're not going to make it all the way through, and it's just going to be a bad memory. Whereas if you can stick it through all the way to the end, it's most likely going to redeem itself.
Yeah, and I always said, like, just earlier, it's like, do you like Gurren Lagann? Do you like that type of, like, those type of, like, hype, epic animes? Well, I suggest this for you. Like, it has its grounded in serious moments, but it also goes to the silly, ridiculous moments that are in Gurren Lagann, too.
My 3 would be like, do you like Kick-Ass, what was it, Space Dandy, and cringe videos? And if you answer yes to all 3 of those, you will definitely
Really?
love this
Cringe
show.
videos?
Yeah, last 3. I'm sorry. The last 3 episodes blew my mind and
Because of
totally
the
raised up the rating.
Because
of the cringe.
Okay, yeah.
Like, it's important because it's, like, mental.
yeah.
Everything that this MC does is very cringeworthy, but you can kind of understand him. And
Yeah,
like, sympathize with him.
I kind of get
It's
what
a
you're
bit
saying.
Watamote in that kind of way. I don't know.
It's Watamote, but for superheroes. But, yes, we recommend Samurai Flamenco, I believe.
Yeah,
Recommend.
Definitely recommend.
I would
We all
recommend
say,
to the right person.
To the right person, yeah.
Make
that's true.
sure they have the patience to actually watch all the way through the show, and they're not just going to go, "You're an idiot. Why did you show me this?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our recommendation is watch it first. If you're ever going to recommend this to a friend, obviously.
If
Yeah.
this is the type
Well,
of
I
genre
feel
you
like that's how you should. You shouldn't recommend things to people you haven't watched
I don't know.
yourself.
I've heard stuff before. That I'm like, oh, I think this person would really like this based on what I heard and based on what they like.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
at this one, you really don't know what you're getting until you actually get yourself into it.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
true. You need to experience it. It's, as people say, it's a wild ride and it doesn't stop.